Hey guys, Jerry here, and welcome back to Factorio episode 2! Now, I'm gonna do things a bit differently in this episode, mainly because in the first one I was trying really hard to kind of show that I was planning to make some progress in this game rather than just stick at the early stages of the game. So I'm gonna be a bit more thorough this time and actually, explain a bit more of the interface. So, to start with, let's go through what you can see right now. We have the hotbar down here. All the stuff, you can use your number buttons as well to cycle through them, and you can press Q to drop whatever you have back where you took it. You have your weapons in the lower right here. You can have 3 weapons equipped at a time. Each of them uses a different kind of ammo depending on what sort of weapon you have. And they're useful for, defending against aliens. You have your harvesting tool here, which, as you can see, at the moment I have an iron axe. Later on we can upgrade it to steel axe and such. And you have an armor slot, which, again, in a future update will actually show up on your character as well. Up here on the right we have our minimap, which shows you the surrounding terrain. I don't believe I can actually zoom on this thing. I might be able to, but I've forgotten the key. And you under the minimap you have the big information box showing whatever you have moused over. It's a very useful piece of tool, that one. And finally, in the upper right, you have your research. So if we can start a research here right now, I reckon that's a good idea. And one of the first researches that you want to get is actually the logistics. So you can get the splitter and the underground belt. Those two alone are very, very useful. As you can see, you can also get the steel processing immediately, which allows you to make steel plates and steel axes. Again, very useful stuff, but like all of this stuff, I guess, is useful in some way or another. Armor crafting, military, for more weapons and such, but again, for the purposes of making life easier for us, logistics is one of the really good ones. The art of moving stuff from one place to another. The last thing of the interface I need to explain is the inventory here. So on the left, you have all your carrying capacity. Now, in a previous update, in fact, all earlier Factorio versions than 0.10, stuff here was actually in multiples of 8. So you could have like 64 iron in a stack. A bit like Minecraft again. That's been changed to multiples of 10 now, so it's a bit more, shall we call it, logical for at least most human beings. A stack of iron is 50, stack of transport belts is 50 as well. Whereas a stack of copper plates, you can see they're 100 because they're smaller. So the smaller item, the more you can carry of them in one stack. And finally we have the crafting window here, where you can see I can click on pretty much anything and it will craft it for me. However, as you can see, it lists up here in the bottom left corner, sees what sort of things you make, and then it makes each and every component for you first. So first it made a bunch of these gear wheels, which you can see uses iron plates. Then it needs to make some electronic circuits, which needs copper cables. So it makes copper cables first, and then it makes circuits. And then the stuff that you get in surplus is then put in your inventory. So now I have a spare copper cable, because you make 2 at a time, and I only needed an uneven number. So that's the way that works. So I just made this research lab here, and if we put that down somewhere, again, it doesn't matter too much right now. We can always move them later, like picking up stuff, holding right click on it. It's completely free of charge, no damage at all. And if it's something with an inventory, you get the inventory back. So overall, yeah, it's very forgiving if the way you place your stuff. You can also place all the stuff you want on top of ores and such. That doesn't matter. So if there's an ore deposit in the way you don't want to mine out, you can just build over it without problems. So, research. Now I've chosen logistics here, and if we look in the research panel again, you can see that it takes 20 science pack. Now, this science pack, as you can see, recipe for them copper plates and iron gear wheel, which means that it's gonna need 2 iron plates and 1 copper plate total, and 5.5 seconds apparently to make it, because you need half a second to make the iron gear wheel and then 5 seconds to make the science pack. So if we pick up a bunch of these iron that I have melted up now, we can actually make, if I right click on it, it makes 5 at a time. So if we order up 20 of these, that's gonna take some time to do, but that's also gonna allow us to, start doing science by just stuffing them in here manually. Again, one of the first things you really want to achieve is some sort of automation for this, but in order to get any sort of automation, actually, you need the automation technology, which is another 10, so I'm actually gonna need to make 30 because I need the assembling machine. The assembling machine is very much like the correct tech assembling machine. What it does is that it takes one or two components and craft together to make one item, and it does it at the same speed that I craft, unless you have a speed upgrade for it. But that's rather deep in the technology tree, so not something I have access to right now. Let's see, what can we do to, you know... Up here, you can see our coal here is, well, the mining drill has filled up the transport, the conveyor belt here. So, we can't really, it's not mining anymore, and without the logistics technology, we can't actually do much with this conveyor belt in order to, you know, make it use both lanes. Like, if you had a splitter, you could make it use both lanes, but we don't have that. We will soon, though, soon. But what we can do is we can start setting up some a more clever way to you know, manufacture this stuff, and then set up a coal line as well, so we have coal feeding automatically to the furnaces. So I'm gonna assume that we have enough coal on like a bit of this conveyor belt here. So if we cut this off here, and just quickly pick up whatever we have, actually cut off a bit more, so we can get it around the. There we go. And we can get it around the thing here. So we can take all of this over here. Now that's going to lead the coal over here. Now, coal is sort of the central, like that's the fuel. So if we put that down the middle, then we can take the furnaces we have. I'm just going to kill our production for a bit here. Take these furnaces over here. And put them, not immediately next to, but one block out. Because we need room for a an inserter before we can do anything. So let us put... is it a good idea to put it up here, or... Yeah, sure, let's put it all the way up here. And we can have, let's see, if we want an inserter, then one a chest, and then one other inserter, so there. Then we can take these inserters here, say, okay, these put coal into the furnaces. They of course need power, but we'll sort that out in a moment. And then we need the raw material being supplied. So this stuff can come from the other side here, with the same sort of setup. So let's get it up here. And say, okay, we'll turn it in from here, and then we just basically need to get the iron connected to this conveyor belt up here. So let's pick up these. And pick up that. Return this stuff. We need to remove that one, and there we go. Again, it's a bit of a detour, but then again, this makes the iron pass by both of the furnaces here. So we can now have an inserter going from here, and one coming in here. And then finally, we can take an inserter here, and one here, and then we can either put it on a new conveyor belt, which we can then run underground somewhere else, or we can just put them in a chest, which, for now, is a rather good idea in my mind. So we want a power pole here, and we want one here. That should cover everything. So now we just need to connect the two, and actually I don't think we're using this one, are we? Nope. So we can just put one in between here, and that should connect it all up. So now you can see coal is being fed into the furnaces, iron is being fed into the furnaces, and all the raw material will now be put in into this wooden chest. And we can do a perfectly symmetrical system on the other side with the copper still feeding from the same conveyor belt here. And then once we have the logistics, I think actually, yeah, I need to put in the rest of these. Once we have the logistics technology, we can put in a splitter in the coal belt up here, and actually have it, you know, put coal evenly on both sides. Now there is a thing about these inserters, and that is they have a certain preference for putting stuff onto conveyor belts. I believe that they like taking stuff from the close side, and they like putting stuff on the far side. But it might be the other way around. We'll figure out that soon enough. But they have a preference, so you can actually control how you put them and which side you want the conveyor belt to actually deposit stuff. It's really quite clever. But yeah, let us see how much. We don't really have that many more conveyor belts, so let's make another couple. Toss this one in the same stack. And let us get the copper here going up as well. So again, just to make it symmetrical, we'll put furnace there. We'll have an inserter coming here. We need to make another inserter. I think for now we don't need that much copper, so just one system here will be enough. And we can have the copper coming up here. So there we go. The machine will automatically put the copper on the closer side, because that's where it pops out, like it's dragging it along the ground. And we can mirror our little system here. If we want to mirror it completely, we should actually put the power pole all the way out there. And then finally we can put a chest right here, and we can make one more inserter. There we are, which takes the final product into the chest. So, we now have fully automatic... Oh, and we have technology as well, so let's get started on the automation here. And that means we need to make 10 more of these, so there we go. It means we now have fully automatic processing of both the iron and the copper, and they put into chests, which are easy for us to access and pick up stuff from. Again, soon enough we'll set up some conveyor belts that actually takes the stuff here to a separate factory where we build the science packs. And then we'll also have the lab over there. Now, if you're wondering why this lab says lab SciSep, that is due to the Indiegogo campaign for this game, and as well as its continuing crowdfunding. For certain tiers of funding, you get to have either a lab or something else dedicated to you. I think you can like get a train name, or you can get a laboratory name. So it's completely random whenever you build one of these, what name, and I can even pick it up and put it down again in order to get a different name if I wanted to. But yeah, that's one way that the author here has decided to, the developer has decided to honor his backers. Very nice gesture, and again, it's quite nice to have your name in the game if you really care about the game. And as far as I know, a lot of people who play this game actually care a lot about it. The game's very in-depth. Anyway, we have a splitter now, or we have access to one. I did not mean to make 5. Let's just make 1, and then we get a bunch of spare components here, I think. Yeah, we'll get a bunch of spare components, I think. So, a splitter. Now, the way these splitters work is that you send stuff in, and they'll come out 2, or you send stuff in 2, and they'll come out 1. Like, it's actually a rather clever way of doing it. But basically, as you can see right now, if we then put a bit of thing right here, the splitter will actually take it 50-50% and toss it into the other lane as well. So if we just clean up this one a bit, this one lane here, you should start seeing that once from here on, when the splitter actually started working, we get one in each side. So one on the left, one on the right, one on the left, one on the right, which means that this conveyor belt here will be filled up nicely, evenly on both sides. A bit more efficient overall. So we can now make another splitter. I should actually have just made 5 of them. There we go, automation. Now the research is quick enough when you just have all the stuff. You're just tossing it into the thing, into the fang. So let's take this one here, and then connect these two. There we go. But I'm actually not. Yeah, that should be fine. We can even, if we make a couple more transport belts here, we can even take this. Actually, I'm thinking if it's turning like this, can the thing even reach? That's the question. I think it can reach, but again, it needs to have less than 5 in here for it to try. Yeah, it reaches. All right. But now the thing is, this splitter here, the way that it works, I think, yeah, basically, we're just undoing everything we did up here. So I'm gonna remove this one up here again. Toss that in there, and then we're gonna make another splitter equalizer here. So let's just quickly see where it's putting it. It's putting it on the wrong side there. Alright, so we need to make one more of these. Oh, you can actually turn conveyor belts without placing them. Interesting. So if we remove this one, put a splitter in here, and do this. Will it work now? Again, there's not a lot of coal coming this way now because we only have one coal mine, but it does appear to be working now. So it splits it still. It still splits it evenly. Now we might need to do the same thing over here in order to actually get a a tightly packed course. So let us again make one more splitter. Ah, God, I need to make so many of these. Again, it's this silly system of these things preferring to put stuff in one place rather than another. Yeah, that definitely doesn't work. So we need to go down one and then in. There we go. Again, this looks a bit messy, but overall I think it's gonna be worth it. So now there's one more thing I want to do now. I want to get started on the optics here because I really want to get some lamps going here. So let's just quickly order another 10 science packs with the stuff we have on us. And then yeah, we have so much iron here being made already. It's so wonderful. Very wonderful. Very fantastic. But again, the more of these miners, the more inserters and such we put in. Splitters don't use power, luckily. I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure how they manage it, but I don't think they use power. At least we can check that if we click here. You can see what's using power. Miners are using power. The lab is using power, and the inserters are using power. That's what uses power. We don't have the splitters don't, so neither does the conveyors. It looks as though there was some sort of blockage there. But once we get the optics researched here, basically what we get is a bunch of lamps which at night time will light up the place for us, so it's a lot easier for us to navigate around. Nighttime is, I won't say annoying, but it is a bit inconvenient when you don't have lamps in your base. It's also good, like the lamps are also a good way to like just know exactly how big your base is. So that's that. Now I'm out of stone right now, so I'm gonna find. We had a little stone deposit down here, yeah. So if I toss this miner here, make a little crate, toss it here, and just toss in a bunch of coal, we can mine all the stone that is here, and we'll just have that coming in nicely, nice and quietly. Like we don't need a lot of stone right now. Later on, when we need it, we'll use these rather large stone deposits that are up here, and just have again another conveyor belt. And once we have enough technology, we'll use all of this oil instead of coal, I think, for fuel. The oil, of course, can be used for a lot of other things, but in the very start of it, you pretty much, like, you end up getting 3 different products from oil. 2 of them you can only make into solid fuel, and the last one you can use from the start, and then later on you get to learn to use the other ones, but that's, again, it's a bit more involved. So as you can see, we now have a number of different inserters. We have a long-handed inserter and we have a fast inserter. Now the long-handed inserter is really good because it allows you to grab stuff that's even further away. So like for instance, if we had another conveyor belt over here, like running parallel, we could have a long-handed inserter to grab stuff from this into the furnace. Again, these things combined allow you to do a lot of things, and it's really quite interesting to play with and figure out how exactly can I most efficiently do this, do that. What's the dangers, what's the challenges in it? Not really the dangers, but what, like how efficient can I make my factory? How big can I make my factory? How smooth and how cool looking can I make it? That's a big challenge. And it's one I enjoy quite a bit, so I'm hoping that we'll get to that point sooner rather than later. But yeah, as you can see, we have a lot of iron on us, we have a lot of stuff on us, so it's just a matter of, making some of all these little components we have and need. Make 57 pistols, that's not really necessary. Optics, there we go, lamps. Iron plates, iron sticks, and electronic circuits. Now, we can luckily we can make these already, we have all the stuff. But later on, again, maybe a factory for it would be better. But yeah, I think that just about sums up what I wanted to achieve for now. Again, we got a good insight into the different aspects of the splitters. We got the user interface figured out. We have you know, sorted our coal into 2 separate lanes, so it's a lot more compact and we have a lot more coal available over here. And, you know, a bunch of other stuff. So, yeah, good progress. I think we should put a splitter and splitters on the 2 raw material conveyor belts here, but that's going to be for another time. So until then, I'm Jerry, this has been Factorio, and I really hope you enjoyed. Bye!